The emergency lights painted the corridor in strobes of red. Each pulse revealed more of the growth, thick green vines, impossibly alive in the vacuum-sealed tomb of the starship Odyssey, wrapped around pipes and pushed through steel plates. They glowed with a soft, internal light.
"Keep your distance," Kaya ordered, his voice tight in their comms. His rifle was up, the beam of its targeted laser dancing across the pulsating leaves. "Josh, what are the life signs?"
Josh tapped the scanner on his wrist, his face pale inside his helmet. None. Not in the way we understand them. But the ship, Commander, the ship itself is humming with energy, like a giant sleeping animal. Gianna reached out a gloved hand, her fingers stopping just short of a thick vine that had crushed a service drone against the wall. "It's beautiful," she said, her voice soft with wonder.
"It killed the entire crew, Gianna,"
Kaya snapped.
"There's nothing beautiful about that."
"Yes. We are here for the weapon they found. Nothing else. Now move." They pushed forward, their magnetic boots clanking on the metal deck. The air was cold, but Gianna felt a strange warmth coming from the vines. It felt like standing in a quiet forest, not a dead ship adrift in the black. They were humanity's last hope. The war had pushed them back to their home system. The enemy, the silent flotilla, was patient and absolute. The Odyssey had sent one final broken message before it went silent. "We found the answer, not a weapon, a map." They found the bridge. It was the heart of the growth. Vines thicker than a man's body coiled around the command chair and plunged into the main view screen, which was now a dark glass's surface. The crew was there, all 12 of them. They were not torn apart. They sat or stood at their stations, peaceful smiles on their faces. Thin, glowing green lines, like tiny roots, traced patterns on their skin. Yes. In the center of the room, a holographic projector cast a shimmering image into the air. It was a sphere of tangled light, a three-dimensional web of impossible complexity. It shifted and turned slowly, colors moving through its pathways like blood. "That's it," Josh breathed. "The star map." Kaya moved closer, his rifle still ready. "It doesn't match any known star charts. Are these enemy routes? Hidden paths through space?" "No," Gianna said, stepping toward the glowing map. She felt a pull, a sense of familiarity that made no sense. "This isn't a map of space, it's something else." She saw a loose cable running from the map's projector. It was covered in the same green growth. Before Kaya could stop her, she placed her hand on it. Knowledge flooded her mind. Not facts or figures, but a feeling, a vast, lonely, ancient feeling. It was the forbidden knowledge the old Warnin spoke of, truth you were not meant to know. The universe was not empty space dotted with rocks and gas. It was a mind, and humanity was a loud, painful, screaming thought inside it. Gianna gasped and pulled her hand back, stumbling away. "Caius, we have to leave. We're wrong about everything." "We're not leaving until we have that data," Caius said. He nodded to Josh. "Connect to it. Download everything." Josh hesitated, looking from the map to Gianna's terrified face. "Commander, I'm not sure that's a good idea." "That's an order, Josh." With shaking hands, Josh connected a data cable from his wrist pad to the projector. The moment the connection was made, the map flared. The light filled the room and a low hum became a deafening roar that vibrated in their bones. The forbidden knowledge no longer flowed into one person. It was broadcast. Josh screamed, a raw, terrible sound, and collapsed, his hands clutching his head. "Oh!" Kaya cried out and raised his rifle, his mind twisting the patterns of light into enemy ships, into monsters from deep space. He saw betrayal and horror everywhere. But Gianna saw the truth. The vines were not invaders, they were nerves. The ship was not dead, it was dreaming. The crew had not been killed, they had been understood. They had joined the universal consciousness. The flotilla wasn't an army with a goal, it was an immune system, trying to quiet a chaotic thought that was causing pain. Humanity. A violent tremor shook the Odyssey. On their ship's proximity alert, a dozen enemy vessels appeared. They were close. "They found us." Caius yelled, his eyes wide with panic and confusion. He started firing his rifle at the walls, at the shimmering map. They're everywhere. Kaya, stop, Gianna shouted. You're not seeing what's there. She looked at the map. It wasn't a weapon to be aimed, it was a language to be spoken. The Odyssey hadn't found a way to win the war. Yes, it had found a way to end it. Dodging a wild plasma bolt from Caius's rifle, Gianna lunged for the map's projector. Her mind was surprisingly clear. The terror was gone, replaced by a strange and powerful hope. She saw the patterns in the map, the logic of the cosmic mind. It wasn't angry. It was just alone and in pain. She grabbed the central crystalline core of the projector and ripped it free. The map vanished, plunging the room back into the red glow of the emergency lights. Kaya stopped firing, confused. The roar in their heads stopped. "What did you do?" he demanded. Gianna didn't answer. She ran to Josh, who was curled on the floor, shaking. She pulled the main comms transmitter from his pack. It was a powerful device, capable of sending a signal across the system. It was their only way to communicate with their fleet, but she wasn't going to talk to the fleet. She plugged the crystal into the transmitter's input port. It was a foolish, desperate idea. Yes.
It was like plugging a brain into a speaker. "Gia, that's our only link home," Kaya shouted, finally coming to his senses. "Home is bigger than we thought," she replied.
She took a deep breath. She didn't send a signal of surrender or a request for peace. She didn't use words at all. She focused on a single coherent thought, a memory. A memory of her as a child lying in a green field watching the clouds. A feeling of simple, peaceful existence, of being small but happy. A thought that was not a scream of fear or a shout of war, but a quiet song. She pushed the thought through the crystal, through the transmitter. She broadcast it. For a moment, nothing happened. The enemy ships continued their approach. Caius raised his rifle again, his face a mask of despair. Then, a change. Outside the dark view screen, the enemy ships stopped. Their harsh geometric shapes softened. The threatening red lights on their hulls shifted to a warm, gentle gold. Yes. They were not just stopping their attack. They were listening. The formations broke, and the ships began to move in slow, graceful patterns, mirroring the cosmic dance of the map. The vines inside the Odyssey pulsed with that same golden light. The warmth spread through the bridge, pushing away the cold of space. Josh stopped shaking and looked up, his eyes filled with wonder. Kaya slowly lowered his weapon. The war was over, not because they had won, but because the fight had been a terrible misunderstanding. Humanity had been a nightmare in a vast mind, and for the first time, Gianna had taught it how to have a beautiful dream. They were no longer a disease. They were a new thought, a hopeful thought, and the universe, it seemed, was happy to learn it. Yes.